And we're back. Welcome back to the DirtTalk podcast Monday edition with I didn't know what I didn't know what
You're like, where was I going?
shoot.
My name's Alex, by the way.
With Alex.
Me.
And Aaron Witt. From BuildWitt.
From BuildWitt. Wit, you know, it's in the name.
CEO and founder of BuildWitt.
Sure are. For now.
For now. I've thought about that a lot lately. I'm like, I kind of suck at my job. And there's probably somebody that's better at my job than I am. And that could very well be a conversation at some point.
In theory, however.
Which I'm perfectly okay with. I'm the one thinking I'm probably not as good at my job as I need to be.
Well, we've talked a good bit about you don't necessarily have a ton of vanity about that kind of role. I mean, no one can ever take the founder part from you. Although,
yeah, good luck.
Elon Musk did that for Tesla. We won't talk about it. He paid for that title of founder.
And what was it Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook too?
Well, yeah. According to the movie,
yeah, according to the documentary that I saw,
the documentary called The Social Network.
Yeah,
yep.
Rated PG-13 or R. I don't know.
I think it's R.
I think it's R.
Yeah,
I think it's an adult movie because it's dealing with adult stuff. Facebook.
Though if they made another Facebook movie, it would be about a bunch of people in their 60s because that is the majority of people who use Facebook.
Isn't that the truth? I feel like
my grandmother, very active.
But I'm sure if I had grandparents, I'm sure they'd be all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's super active on it. And the thing is,
she's in her 50s.
Mm-hmm. She's always taking pictures and sharing it on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook. So I don't know what she posts. Not that I care, but it's like, I know my sister for sure cares because they'll be just posting pictures of the family because they're probably not the best pictures. I mean, regarding compared to like my sister's standards.
Sure.
So anything's probably on my mom's Facebook. You get the whole unfiltered glimpse into our family life on my mom's Facebook.
I feel like so many of those photos from like, I'll say parents of friends or I guess my own parents, but always like the lens is like really smudged on their phone. And it's like, this is the worst quality version of this. And this is what you wanted to put on here. Mm-hmm. Or it'll be like a screenshot of a photo that's saved to their phone, but then they didn't crop out like the, stuff at the top.
I love that. To give my mom credit, she's not that bad.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I've
seen some of the pictures. I think they look fine. I'm just saying from like a 20-year-old girl's perspective, total trash.
Did your brother and sister, did they intentionally use your naming convention when making their like social media accounts?
No.
I feel like I've seen you when like you were hanging with them, tag them. I guess it would just been first name, last name.
We just have an easy last name. Witt, you can just throw it around. You can kind of put it in wherever.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things.
It's not super common, so typically usernames are
available,
easy to come by. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a good last name. I feel good about it. I feel great about it, actually. Glad I have my last name.
It's a good last name.
Not that I have any choice in the matter whatsoever. But.
And it's pretty cool that you were able to join a company that was named with your last name in it.
Dude, what are the odds of that, huh?
Amazing.
Yeah. Everybody walks around like, you have anything to do with that? No.
My dad named it.
Yeah. Yeah, just my old man.
My old man.
My dad's company.
We have gotten a question, I think both for the internal podcast and for this podcast as well, asking if you could change the name. Like, have you ever thought about that? Or is it just kind of like a too late, that ship has sailed? Obviously now, I think. But early on, was there ever, maybe I should?
No. I've never once legitimately like, yeah, I need to rebrand the whole company. But it's the funniest. It doesn't happen too often. Actually, I guess it happens often. It'll be someone out in the field. I won't know them. I'll walk up to them. What do you got going on? Start talking with them. And you'll see them look up at my hard hat. Oh, you're with BuildWitt. So what does BuildWitt do? And you'll see them look up at the hard hat again, see my name, Aaron Witt. on it.
Huh.
Like, and then it's like, I know exactly where the conversation's going from there. I'm like, I didn't want to talk about this. I just want to talk about what the heck you're doing. Like, why this curb is here. That's all I want to talk about right now. But I get that's an important. We need more people on our mission of making the dirt world a better place. So if I have the opportunity to talk to someone who hasn't heard about us, what we're doing, and get them on board our mission, that's a win at the end of the day. But I am introverted by nature. I just want to know what the heck's going on wherever I'm at. I don't want to talk about what the heck I do. I screwed up terribly and chose the absolute wrong profession for being an introvert and not wanting to talk about anything. So here I am.
Here you are.
Like, everybody's like, good for you. I'm like, no, my life is a burning pile of trash, man. I just want to hide under my rock, and I can't hide under my damn rock. Like yesterday, I filmed all day long for BuildWitt training. Today, all I've done is either meetings or podcasts. Podcast number 4 right now.
Which a meeting is basically a podcast you don't record.
Yeah. And then I have a meeting after this. And then I have therapy after that, after this whole day of talking. So I'm supposed to talk for another hour after I just talked all day.
And when you go to therapy, the expectation is that you'll be vulnerable and open, and typically stuff you're not going to talk about at work.
It's just, and it's like, it's not that. It's just like, it requires a lot of mental energy.
It does.
So it's not lighthearted conversation. Hey, man, you want to talk, toss back some brewskis and just kick it? It's not one of those conversations.
But I feel like what's tough is because it's at the end of a day like today, which means that you're already kind of coming in a little raw, a little low on your gas gauge.
Correct.
No?
Yeah.
Just how it is.
So yeah, it's just me complaining about my perfectly fine life. That's super cush. But here I am still complaining about it. Because I have to talk to people. Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah. My wife is starting with a new therapist today. Totally cool. She'd be totally fine to talk about it.
Wow.
Which is a big deal.
Big time.
She's pumped. And she texted me before this. She's like, I don't know what I should talk about first. So I'm like, yeah, I feel like a lot of us are in that position.
It's like you're kind of thumbing through the list, your imaginary list. Like, oh, there's a lot here.
It's like, where do I start?
Yeah.
Which to me, like that feels like a sign of the times. I would say that it feels like I'm in my life right now, and of the folks that are in my life, I feel like it is a very high percentage of people who feel like a certain degree of burnout.
Yeah, it's directly correlated to people not being together. Guaranteed. It's not even hard to see and notice. Humans are social creatures. We have to be with one another, even if we are introverted as hell. Well, that's why. What is the worst form of torture? If someone does something terrible, what do? We lock them up in solitary confinement, isolation, away from anybody else. We take their humanity away from them by not allowing them to interact with any other human beings. That's terrible. It's a form of torture. That's what we do. That's what we've just done to the whole damn world. So yeah, no kidding is anxiety through the roof, and drug overdoses are through the roof, and suicides through the roof, and mental issues are through the roof, and the feeling of just feeling isolated is through the roof. No wonder all of that is way pronounced right now, and it's not going away. It's terrible.
And I think what's fascinating, and I say because you and I are both introverts that play extrovert when the time's right, that I think my typical thought on this would be, well, when I'm like around a lot of folks, that it just runs my gas gauge to empty, and I need to then go recharge like at home or by myself. But it's like I almost need that interaction in that time, like running my gas gauge low.
Correct.
So that I can like recharge correctly, versus like if I'm just home all the time, or just not nearly as like in community with my people, that I'm not like using my energy in a way that like feels healthy or feels how I want to be. And
That's
so
right.
I think that's a fascinating point, that like, even though, introverts are typically wired to like want that alone time and don't get energized by like being in their community, that it's still part of like their cycle of how they like are a human.
Yeah, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
Human beings need social interaction. Human beings need social interaction. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're at in the world, how you're wired, how socially awkward you are, you need social interaction. There's just no way around it. That's how we've evolved. Because it increased our chances of survival.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to form tribes. We needed to form groups because we were so worthless alone that we needed to come together to ensure our survival. It's essential. It's absolutely essential. And so, great, we don't live in the tribal world we evolved in, but that doesn't make socialization and human connection any less important.
Yeah, we still have that primal need for a lot of that.
Yeah, man.
That said, when Aaron and I are done with this podcast, we won't talk to each other for the rest of the day.
That's it. That's it. But it's what makes life so rich and fulfilling, is coming together. And this is why the whole thought of going 100% remote scares the shit out of me. I think that is I think that's a terrible idea. That's going completely against human nature. Now, I think dictating that everybody has to be in the office 5 days a week for 40 hours is not the best way of doing business anymore, because people have had flexibility over their lives and they don't want to go back. You need to offer flexibility, and people need to offer people the freedom to live life as they need to. Now, in construction, that's a little bit more difficult because it's a production-based industry.
Mm-hmm.
So,
in a location-based, you got to be somewhere.
That's it. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of things the construction industry can do to be just a little bit more flexible, rather than make your doctor's appointments in the off season. Like, some of the stuff I hear is fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
But 100% remote, I think, is a recipe for disaster, because you're missing the human connection standpoint. You're missing the human connection component, and you can't go build a strong culture without trust and human connection. It's just not possible. We didn't evolve to communicate over screens. Communicating over screens is super unnatural. Like, psychologically, physiologically speaking, it's super unnatural.
And I think one way that bears out for us as a company is when we have our twice a year like full team meeting in Nashville, where we get the whole crew together. Like, I think everybody leaves that either like super, super pumped up, like that was so great, I can't wait to get back to it, or I need a day and then I can't wait to get back to it. Because there is something about that, like this community that like we've been building here at BuildWitt. Not everybody's in Nashville. We're not with everybody all the time.
No.
And when we have that opportunity, it's like, all right, this is special that we're all working towards something. We're all in the room together. Like, that like energy is really tangible. And I think like is an important part of what we do here. And I think it's probably continue to be that as we continue to grow.
Yeah. But the problem is we continue to grow. So the conversation was had about this upcoming meeting. Is this financially viable right now? Because it's like, I don't know, probably $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
$300,000. That's a shitload of money.
Yeah.
That's twice the money I made in the first year of business to have a 3-day meeting.
Yeah.
That's insane. But it's that important to our business big picture to bring people together.
And I feel like we always see the value of it afterwards too.
That's it. But still, dude.
Still scary.
Yeah, it's still scary, and you're still looking at the dollars like, can't we just do this over Zoom? And no, the answer is absolutely not. We can't.
We got a couple questions for the Dirt Talk podcast. All right, first question. This is from Justin. There are countless operators with 20 plus years of service that have gnarled hands. Is there any research or concern on what a lifetime of being an operator does to a body?
I think everybody knows it kicks the shit out of you. I mean, run a dozer and rock for 10 minutes and you understand like, holy smokes. So this is what these guys do all day long? This is insane. And the whole operator comfort thing, I'm not really buying. I know you're working in a rough environment, but I don't know if I don't know if there's. I would like to see how much effort is really put into operator comfort, because I just don't know if it's where it should be.
You're saying there should be more effort and energy towards operator comfort.
I think so, but then you get into the weird, well, back in my day, we didn't even have air conditioning. And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, you didn't have air conditioning, but I would like air conditioning. So you drive your car without air conditioning and the windows down in the summer just because you didn't have it before and you want to be a tough, like, I guarantee you run your air conditioning.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's been formal research done on what it does to your body. You can talk to all the old school guys. You can just watch them get in and out of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
They're hurting. And I think there's things that we can. I just think there should be more effort and intention behind ergonomics and taking care of people's bodies in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a lot of it. Like, so the thing with remote control. So remote control, it's good because you can put a machine in a dangerous application that you wouldn't necessarily want. Line of sight remote control.
Yeah.
So you have to be seeing the machine, and it's somebody running the remote control. People think it's just like every time you say remote control and show a guy running a remote control, they're like, oh, they're putting operators out of jobs. I'm like,
that guy's an operator.
are you blind? Like, what are you talking about? The guy's running the machine. But it's great for applications like working under a high wall, under a conveyor, in a nuclear power plant, whatever it is. There's a bunch of different applications for it. But there's also applications for make it remote control so you can run that machine in a really rough environment without screwing up the operator while you're doing it, like ripping, for example. If you're ripping rock with a dozer, it's gnarly. It's so harsh. What if we could use a remote control so the operator can sit away from the machine, rip and do the work he needs to rip, yeah, okay, great. He can't feel the machine. So there's downsides to it. It's not this, fairy tale land. I get that. But let's do the cost benefit analysis here. Are the benefits of the operator not getting the shit kicked out of him for a 12-hour shift better? Probably. Or at least just give him a break, give him the option to stand out of the machine and let him rip for a little bit. I don't know.
On those remote controlled machines, are they also usable if they just want to be used like as traditional? Like you could get into it too?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. You just get into it and run the machine normally. Flip a switch. It makes the little light on the outside of the machine go from blue to green.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, great. It's a normal machine.
Now they know somebody's in there.
Yeah. So, and then, okay, great. We could talk about ergonomics. And I think step one is just educating operators on how to just live healthier lives. And if we could help operators just be healthier overall, that's a huge step. That's probably the lowest hanging fruit. So how can I, as a business owner, make sure that my people live a healthy life or are incentivized to live a healthy life? How can I design my business to incentivize that behavior? Because if I incentivize that behavior, if my operators are healthier, they're going to be more effective.
Yeah.
They're going to be healthier, so they're just going to live better lives. And they're going to be more effective at their job. So it's a win-win. But instead of just, that's how they live. How do you create a world that influences the behavior you want to see? That's very possible from a business standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not manipulation. It's, you're still giving them the opportunity to go do it. It's still free will, but you're making it easier and easier and easier to live a healthy life, for example. So, I think that should be a huge, huge area of focus. I think we talk about safety all day long, safety this, safety that, fall protection, I get all that, but we don't talk about being healthy
as being an important part of that.
How many injuries will you prevent in the field? How much bodily degradation will you prevent if people are healthy? How many people, look at how many people die from heart disease. Ridiculous amount of people die from heart disease. That's a totally preventable disease. Totally preventable.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about that because that's not going to affect us legally and from an insurance standpoint today, which is a bummer. But that's where I'd be starting from an operator standpoint. Hey, let's talk about energy drinks. That shit, is poison.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, let's have I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't have my mind wrapped around it, but I just think we need to be more deliberate from a health standpoint in the industry. So, okay, great. Like, we could go talk to the manufacturers. Can you guys make this way more ergonomic? And they are making progress. Like, cab today is a lot better than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'll throw them a bone. But the lower hanging fruit there is, how do I create an environment that helps my people live a healthier life? And if they're healthier, everybody wins as a result.
That makes sense to me. Justin, who asked this question, he also made a comment in his email that he said, I know Aaron wants turn-by-turn directions in his skid steer, which I cracked up at.
Got him.
I was like, man, that's pretty clever to me, because it would be a joke. Well, thanks for talking about that. I feel like kind of what you're talking about, Aaron, is you're right. It is like the low-hanging fruit, but it's also like the thing that probably doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
If
at all.
I've been on 1 or 2 job sites.
1 or 2?
It does not get talked about.
This is period.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's a huge bummer.
I think that definitely goes along with, we obviously talk a lot about, one way to make the Dartwood a better place is for companies to care for their people more. Like, that's clearly like in line with that.
That's it.
Offering your team opportunities to, both do their job better, but also like be healthier, be in better shape to do the work they're going to, those are all good things.
It's a and a lot of people just don't, just lack the education too.
Sure.
It's just simple stuff. Like, they didn't grow up understanding the importance of exercise and understanding the importance of what a diet looks like. Like, we've been lied to from a diet standpoint alone. Like, the food, the food pyramid, like, it's dog shit. It doesn't make any, like, as many grains as you, like, what are you even talking? What are you talking about, dude? Like, we've been lied to by the whole food industry our whole lives.
Big food, man.
It's no joke.
Mm-hmm.
So even something as simple as that, or, I've even thought of, if I had a construction company, I would try to pay for lunch as often as I could. Because, okay, great. Hey, my guys, my people don't have time because we're starting early, for example. They don't have the time to go make sure they have a healthy lunch. So what are they going to do? They're going to go buy some dog shit and they're going to eat it. You can't blame them. That's exactly what I would be doing too in that position. How can I make it easier for them to make the right decision? Well, maybe I can figure out how to get them lunch, even if it's just 1 day a week, where I hire a food truck that has healthy options and I have it pull up on my job site on Friday and I pay for everything. So they don't even need to, they don't like it and they're not going to pay for it. Maybe I pay for it. That's a brilliant expense on my part, because, hey, if they're well fed, if they're eating just 1 healthy meal a week and learning, wow, this lettuce stuff doesn't taste like shit. I actually kind of like it. They're going to perform better. They're going to be happier. I'm going to be better off at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for that reason, but that's a benefit. It's not just a sunk cost. It is a gain in productivity long term by taking care of my people. Something as simple as that.
Well, yeah, and I think the idea of taking care of your people, like, is so broad too. It's like that's not always like the one answer. It's like, well, if you just buy your team healthy lunch, like, there's a million ways to care for your team, but like, there's also a million ways that work for like just your company that, increase morale, keep everybody healthier, keep everybody being more productive. Like, there's all those things, and of course, a lot of them are specific, but like you said, like, this is pretty low hanging fruit too.
Really low hanging fruit.
Speaking of, offer low-hanging fruit to your team. There you go.
That's it.
Anywho, thanks, Justin, for the question and for emailing. You've sent in a couple of questions over the year, I think. All right. Next up, John. He says, in Dirt Talk 118, which was Paul Jones, he says, I heard Aaron say that the industry is really a revenue game right now and that a company should want to drive revenue over profit. Can y'all elaborate on that? Why would a company be more interested in revenue over profit?
So they can flex on everybody and get bigger projects. It's like, look at the ENR 400 list, for example. How does it rank contractors? On profitability? On people? No. On revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So contractors have been programmed into thinking, more revenue is best. And that's how a lot of companies are ranked. And that's how some projects are awarded. You need to have a certain amount of revenue. You need to be certain size to even get into the ballpark. Or if you have more revenue, you can get more bonding capacity. So then you can bid bigger jobs, for example. We're incentivized. Businesses are incentivized in the industry to grow revenue. Profitability doesn't matter. A project owner doesn't typically care how profitable you are. A DOT could give a shit how profitable you are. They just care about revenue, about bonding capacity. And okay, cool. If your bonding company says you can do it, great. We'll take the bid. And if it's the low bid, great. Legally, you have the job.
Because, well, it's like you're doing more. The more business you're doing, like the more it looks like you can do more business, right?
And it's just in business too. It's super easy to chase revenue. It's fun. You love seeing revenue go up and up and up and up, making so much money. You get caught up in this game of, whoa, this is cool. You want to grow every year. And it's also just easy to get caught up in chasing more and more and more. And especially with how big the market is right now and how crazy the market is right now, construction companies are trying to gobble up as much as they can.
And so you're saying that they should.
No, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't be chasing revenue as much.
No.
I'm confused.
No. They're trying. That's what they're doing right now, but that's not always good for anybody.
I got it.
Yeah. They should, like Randy Blunt, he talks about this all the time. Like, you can go into BuildWitt Leaders and learn about how he's built his whole business, which is crazy profitable, by the way, which is why he was acquired. He built it by being deliberate about the work he took on and by deliberately not chasing revenue, but growing as they could grow, as they could maintain their profitability.
Well, yeah, because and please correct me if I'm wrong, the bigger you get, the thinner your margins are, just because you have more expenses,
oftentimes,
and overhead and whatever else as you get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like all the big companies, they just make a few percentage points. That's it. It's
like, doesn't matter how much revenue because it's all just a percentage at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets split up between their people, and here's a little bit that's left.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, revenue, we need to go build the work that needs to get built. We need to go build the infrastructure our country needs. Absolutely. We need to fill demand. We can't just say, sorry, we can't build it. That's not an option, which is why we have to make the dirt world a better place, which is why we have to build a little bit more intelligently. But also, to go fill demand, to build more intelligently, we need the workforce. To get the workforce, we need the profit to invest in people. To get the profit to invest in people, we might have to do a little bit less work. It's kind of, you just, it's a little counterintuitive.
There's I think it might even be on TikTok. There's like a video of this guy who he basically coaches people who want to move into freelance. And like, how do you do that? How do you kind of start building that business from scratch? And I think this definitely applies here as well. But it's talking about, this made up guy is getting too many clients. He can't do all of the work.
Mm-hmm.
And so the coach says, all right, we'll raise your rates. And the guy says, well, I'm going to lose some of my clients. He's like, well, if you double your rates and lose half your clients, look, you have the same amount of money and you have twice as much time. And I was like, oh, okay. And so to me, that sort of lives in this same conversation on profit. Because like you said, if you're just chasing revenue for forever, that's fine if you get tons and tons of revenue, but like, is your business really any better? If you're still having to hire more people and just like have all this overhead and you have really no profit left, versus like focusing on like, what can you do with that profit? And once you see like that opportunity, then you're probably more likely to focus on that more than the revenue.
Yeah, we've been programmed by like big corporate America that profit is bad. Like, wow, they're taking advantage of everybody. But profit is a good thing. And just pure capitalism, it's a great thing because you can do some really, really cool stuff with profit.
Mm-hmm.
You can go expand your business. You can go try new things. You can go grow your people. You can do a lot of fun things. And we're missing out on that as an industry right now. And as a result, we're not able to go recruit and invest in people effectively. And as a result, we have a big workforce problem that's only going in one direction. So I think it's not the solution, but part of the solution is educating construction companies on how to operate more effectively so that they can be more profitable, so that they do have more to invest in their people, try new things, and build more effectively. I see that as one of the core pieces of solving the workforce problem is helping companies be more profitable. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
We're just operating in this hyper-competitive market, and everybody kicks the shit out of each other. Drives margins down. We need to stop playing that game because everybody loses. It's a race to the bottom. Where are we at right now? Everybody's hurting.
Yeah. Well, and like you've said, even if you and your company focus on, trying to have more profit and not just kind of running like these bids lower and lower and lower, whoever's the lowest, if you're the only one who participates in that, you're kind of at the mercy of the other companies in your industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. And it's not as easy as just like, okay, great. We're just not going to, it's an incremental process, incremental change, but you might have to take a step back in revenue to jump forward in profitability, but that's in everybody's best interest.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's when ego comes into play because that's hard. You have to swallow a little bit of humble pie, and there's big egos in the industry. Surprise, surprise. I don't think that's shocking for anybody to find out. And just from an ego standpoint too, you like having a lot of revenue. You can flex on people. Yeah, I do $500 million.
And then they're like, all right, how much money did you have after you paid all your people? Well, not really that much.
Still did $500 million.
Yeah.
Still have all this equipment on my balance sheet. Still can flex.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about. But everybody wins when a company's more profitable. The owner can sell the company for more money if they want to. They have more money to invest in their people. Everybody's happier. They build better work. They become more profitable. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the more you focus on profitability, the greater and greater and greater your business will actually become. The more effective your business will actually become. You'll be able to, as you become more effective, potentially bid work for lower than everybody else and still make more money than everybody else. Isn't that crazy?
Who knew?
Whoa.
Well, thanks, John, for the question. Thanks, Aaron, for talking about that a bit.
Yeah. And my typical disclosure, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that is my elementary understanding of what's going on based on my
Well, like you said, you've been on a
data
job site or two.
At least 2 this year.
At least 2. Good for you.
Minimum.
One thing that's pretty cool for BuildWitt before we wrap it up, we got our first client using BuildWitt training this week.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to talk about that on the
Got
podcast.
it. Okay. BRB. NVM.
And we can leave that in there. I'm fine with leaving this in there. They just don't want it to promote it all that much because they're still working on some things and ironing some kinks out. Because miraculously, we don't get everything perfectly right at BuildWitt.
We don't. We're trying our best.
Crazy, right?
Our intents are good.
Wow, we're screwing up. Oh, that's something. That's new.
That's new. We know nothing about.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll talk more about that when the time's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think that's a Monday Dirt Talk episode. We really appreciate everybody stopping by. If you enjoy the podcast, please keep sharing it. It's a huge help for us. If you have a question, send it to dirttalk@buildwitt.com or feedback. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, if you want to learn how to make your company more profitable too, BuildWitt Leaders.
BuildWitt Leaders.
Google BuildWitt Leaders or download the BuildWitt app. It's all available for free. And Randy Blunt will tell you how to run a more profitable construction business for free. There you go.
He knows something about it.
He knows something about it. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you on the next one. Stay dirty, everybody.